Not the first time.
You only have
I
5
think you're right.
minutes. You only have 5 minutes and it took 6.
I know.
Okay, we're going to get started a little bit early tonight since most of the people are here that are at the beginning of the agenda and are also looking to maybe speak at the other council meeting. Those other people in that other city. So anyway, let's have the director of the Chamber of Commerce lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttrin.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Who seconded that? Okay. Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttrin, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, first up is proclamation. So let me read this proclamation. This relates to Cleanup Day, which is this Saturday in Green River at from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Correct. Whereas in Green River over the winter months, litter, tree limbs, and metal have accumulated in citizen yards, alleys, and outlying areas in clear public view. And whereas these conditions detract from the fine appearance and quality of life within our community, and whereas the governing body is encouraging citizens to take pride in the appearance of their homes, neighborhoods, and Green River by participating in the Green River Cleanup Day. And whereas the governing body encourages citizens to sign up at the Green River Visitors Center between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. as a volunteer participant for the annual Green River Chamber of Commerce Cleanup Day. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Pete Russ, do hereby proclaim Saturday, May 21st, 2022 as Green River Cleanup Day in the city of Green River, and encourage all citizens to take this opportunity to clean up their property, assist their neighbors, and join other volunteers in the efforts to keep our community green and clean. Let's everybody get out and volunteer and get up there. There's only one proclamation tonight. Do you want a picture, Lisa? Okay, let's go. Oh, okay. Okay, next up on the agenda is presentations, and that would be Janessa, Sweetwater County Tourism Master Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Janissa Meredith. I'm the CEO of Sweetwater County Travel and Tourism. Thank you for allowing us some time tonight to speak about our Sweetwater County Tourism Master Plan. So we wanted to create a tourism master plan to get all of our projects in one list, get all the people in the same room, make a plan so that we're ready when funding opportunities become available. We've already vetted our projects. We've already got on the same page and all of those things. So we've worked with Darren Rudloff with Rudloff Solutions, and I'll have him come up and explain the original process for how we got to where we're at.
Thank you, Janessa. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. It's certainly my pleasure to be back here in Sweetwater County. And let's see if we can move forward. There we go. First off, we just like to touch, what is a master plan? What is the purpose of a tourism master plan? Basically, the goal of a tourism master plan is to enhance and grow the Sweetwater County hospitality industry to benefit both visitors and residents. It's bigger than just Janessa's organization. It's really an attempt to put your arms around the county as a whole. So it's travel and tourism, working with the chamber, working with the cities, the county, the college, et cetera, to achieve some big goals that move the travel and tourism industry forward, again, for the benefit of visitors and residents. And I say for residents because what makes your community nice and attractive for visitors also makes it nice and attractive for residents. We're talking about quality of life, amenities. So if visitors like to visit your county, your residents, your workforce will like it as well. We're talking about shopping, dining, attractions, outdoor recreation, et cetera. So those are things we're talking about here in this tourism master plan. And you can see some of the other benefits. Basically, you have consensus of on your major plans or your major projects. Your projects are prioritized so that when funding opportunities come around, you're ready to go. You reduce duplications of efforts, et cetera. That's really what we're talking about here. In some respects, we're talking about just expanding the outdoor recreation collaborative that's going on right now. That's another effort like this, where you have people from throughout the county, different organizations, different type of groups working together for some common goals. And that's what we're doing here. There we go. While all counties are different, we have created tourism master plans recently in Laramie County and in Natrona County. And just quickly, I want to share some of the successes those two counties have had in the year that they've been working on implementing their master plans. Very quickly, Cheyenne, for instance, the city of Cheyenne is working with Union Pacific and Visit Cheyenne to transfer some old cars from Union Pacific ownership to City of Cheyenne ownership. They're going to be renovated into attractions or small business locations placed around the depot to create a bigger railroad attraction. That was one of the top goals in the Cheyenne Tourism Master Plan. Visit Cheyenne right now has a contract with an architecture firm to redesign 15th Street around the depot to reconfigure it and figure out where the cars are going. And together they've applied for an Economic Development Administration grant to help fund the project. Casper, you can see some of their progress. 2 weeks ago, their town council decided to move forward with putting in some wayfinding signs, but they're not going to do it in 1 year, where it has a big impact on their budget. They decided that for every road project that comes up between the county and the city and YDOT, they're going to do signs on a piecemeal basis over time when new road projects get developed. So that's another way Casper is attacking their tourism master plan. It's going to take a while to implement that strategic plank, but again, that plan is not sitting there gathering dust. They're actually making progress on it. Oh my goodness, I'm having trouble with this. So about 3 or 4 months ago, Janessa formed a steering committee in the dead of winter. Here it is. This steering committee worked with us on this project. We had a couple of in-person meetings and a lot of work online with some surveys and emails. So they've been working probably starting in October or so, and they gave their time and we certainly appreciate it. They worked on this process. First of all, starting at the top, we started by reviewing existing plans, existing research. We didn't start from scratch. We went to the Green River Community Plan, the Rock Springs Community Plan, plans from the county, the Outdoor Recreation Collaborative, Travel and Tourism, the chambers, the college. We looked at all these plans, 31 in total, and looked for issues that kept showing up. What issues have been identified by all the different groups previously? We looked for the things that were common across all the plans. We identified 4 big strategic issues. We tested them with the steering committee, and then we interviewed 19 stakeholders, elected officials, business owners, recreation, outfitters, et cetera, to talk about those strategic issues in greater detail. We also surveyed county residents and visitors about those strategic issues as well. So basically, we dug down deeper into those big issues to figure out what the problems were and also what are the potential solutions with those big 4 issues. And here are the big 4 issues that kept popping up as important to the travel and tourism industry. Number 1, partnerships and collaboration, how well everyone works together. Number 2, your big strength, you all know it, outdoor recreation, kept showing up repeatedly in all your documents. Number 3, attractions and amenities, which was included more indoor stuff like your event center. And finally, travel industry infrastructure, which includes things like transportation, how it all works together. So once we came up with these strategic issues, then we attacked the strategies of how to move forward with it. And this is where I turn it over to Janessa to describe the strategies in more detail.
So yeah, we put partnerships and collaborations first, because if we are not all working together, we're not going to get anywhere. If we work in silos, we're not going to get anywhere. So all of these strategic issues kind of weighted really heavy and rose to the top in this plan. But a successful tourism master plan requires stakeholders to agree on common goals and work together to attain them. So that was our number 1 strategic issue. We want to make sure that when we are we're speaking with a unified voice. We want to create stronger communication and collaboration among all of our local entities, governing bodies, community agencies, and partners throughout the county. We want to investigate and pursue funding options that would be critical to the success of this plan. And we want to speak with a unified voice for Sweetwater County. All those things right there. And then, outdoor recreation in our area it's epic. We have some outdoor attractions that would rival national parks around the country. Really, really incredible amenities. So Sweetwater County's outdoor recreation attractions are enviable, even in an outdoor state like Wyoming. So these amenities dominate lists of popular activities of both residents and visitors, who also rate them as being high in quality. Unfortunately, a lot of our epic outdoor attractions, they're underdeveloped, they're hard to get to, and they're somewhat rugged. So that's a challenge that we face. So what are we going to do? We want to develop and improve additional wayfinding. So as you know, in both municipalities, we have wayfinding systems. So travel and tourism paid for the creative development of both of those systems. But it's not only important to lead people around within the cities, but we also want to lead them to the attractions that are out in the desert that are a little bit trickier to get to. So kind of expanding on the wayfinding efforts that we have already implemented in the cities. And then we also want to continue work to develop and improve the Flaming Gorge experience on the Sweetwater County side of the gorge. As you know, we have the Flaming Gorge tour. I gave you all a brochure for that. The bus tour that Travel and Tourism began last summer. So that's us building product, trying to provide a guided experience for folks visiting our area. So that's one of the first initiatives that we have come up with. Also, gaining that All-American Road designation was really critical, and we're actually applying for 2 different funding opportunities to build turnouts on that byway right now. So that's another project. And then the conversation of a state park. As you know, Governor Gordon's Thrive and Survive initiative listed 2 state parks as possible opportunities in the state of Wyoming, and we want Sweetwater County to be really considered for that as well. Develop and promote outdoor recreation outfitters. So we have gotten into product development in recent years, but we would love to support private individuals going into guided operations to support the tourism industry here locally. We also want to support efforts of existing outdoor recreation groups. There's mountain biking groups, motorized groups, SWAT that you're familiar with out of Uinta County. Want to make sure we're supporting all of the other efforts that are going on. I serve on the steering committee for the Sweetwater County Outdoor Recreation Collaborative, and want to work with them as well to overcome some of the land ownership challenges that we have in the county. And then also developing a trail network in Rock Springs and Green River with an overarching connecting goal of connecting both of the cities with that trail system. So the Rock Springs trail system that's been discussed is in addition to the Bitter Creek project that they're working on, make sure there's some trail element in that. Obviously, the Greenbelt in Green River is an incredible system that we'd love to support and offer help to enhance that as well. And then that overarching goal, this came up numerous times in all of the interviews that Darren conducted and the research that we did. A trail system connecting the two cities is a really popular idea. I had never thought of it prior to this process. So that's a really exciting idea as well. And then we also want to develop recreation opportunities in the Red Desert. We are going to be selling sandboards this summer. I've mentioned that before. I don't think we're going to be able to get them fast enough to sell them. They're really, really popular. So being able to give folks an opportunity to experience the Kilpecker Sand Dunes if they don't own an ATV. And then also look for ways to have guided tours into the Red Desert, and possibly that could be considered for a state park as well. The third strategic issue is attractions and amenities. So while our outdoor recreation dominates Sweetwater County's tourism industry, events and indoor activities also play a role. I thought it was really interesting to find out that 80% of residents in Sweetwater County attend at least one event at the Sweetwater Events Complex every year. I thought that was an interesting number, 80% of our local residents. So the county lacks other indoor amenities. So we want to keep existing venues updated and competitive, as well as add new ones to improve the county's appeal of quality of life. We want to support the Sweetwater Events Complex as they work to always enhance that property. We want to investigate the need and support for new event space. Field houses, indoor sports facilities. It not only improves the quality of life for our existing residents, but it also helps with recruiting workforce to our area. Families, when they're looking to move to Sweetwater County, they want to know what their kids are going to be able to do indoor and outdoor with our short, warm season. So yeah, something indoor would be really phenomenal. And then also some indoor hotel and convention space would be amazing if we can get to going in that direction. We also want to support the development of new and expanded attractions and businesses, and then support what downtown Rock Springs and Green River Main Street districts are doing as well. The travel industry infrastructure. So an area's travel infrastructure often determines how successful the area is in enjoying tourism's economic benefits. The planning process revealed the need to improve these basic building blocks for Sweetwater County's hospitality industry. And in particular, the research indicated significant interest in beautification of the gateways into the county's major communities. So as you know, I have worked with both the city of Rock Springs and the city of Green River to enhance our gateways. So help get the lighted sign on the main entrance into town. That's just beautiful. I think it turned out really nice. Did the same for Rock Springs off the Dewar Drive exits as well. And then a lot of landscaping grants and so on. So just really realizing that our gateways are our first impression of when people come to visit or consider living in Sweetwater County, and they really are critical. We also want to work to protect the Southwest Wyoming Regional Airport and all of the benefits that it brings to Sweetwater County for both residents and visitors. And then develop efforts to improve both the quality and quantity of the local hospitality workforce. So we can spend a lot of money marketing to get people to come and visit. But if they get here and they have a bad experience on the front line, it really, really does us no good. So always want to work with that industry to help support it as much as we can. And I believe that is, in a nutshell, Fast and Furious Sweetwater County Tourism Master Plan. I would take any questions if you had any.
Does anybody have any questions for Janessa?
Thank you for presenting. I'm always looking forward to what's next. What is you have the short term 1 to 2 years. Can you outline what those projects are by chance?
You know, the wayfinding is really big, just in the fact that there are a lot of attractions that don't have clear wayfinding outside of the municipality. And travel and tourism, we can now pay for signage, which we weren't able to do in the past. So that's kind of the low hanging fruit originally. I actually have meetings scheduled this summer to talk to some folks at the state level about a possible state park in Sweetwater County. So that's happening right now. Obviously, Flaming Gorge development is ongoing. Like I said, we're applying for funding to build those turnouts, both through the Federal Highway Administration and through the WIDOT Transportation Alternatives Program. So a lot of projects are already in the works. This plan was completed in January, February. I've been holding on to it, kind of waiting to see where some other conversations went, and made sure some of these ideas were already shared with folks that were working on funding opportunities. Wanted to make sure we were part of those conversations, but a lot of it is already underway.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. We appreciate the
Thank you.
presentation and your work. Okay, next up is the Greenbelt Task Force.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm John Freeman, and I'm the current chairman of the Greenbelt Task Force, and I need to put my glasses on because I can't see like I did 30 years ago. Anyway, we've really enjoyed working with you over the past 30 years, and we're in a revitalization area. One of the nice things that's going on is we've always had a strong public-private partnership, and your city staff has been outstanding to help with us. And, you know, a special thank yous to Brad in his department, Mark in his department. Ryan Rust has helped us tremendously. And Debbie Hansen has kept me straight and narrow. So I want to make sure that we've said, say something with that. We're getting to the point where we're looking for priorities for the master plan. And we want to send you a survey. So we figured that it'd be a good time for us to come up and tell you what we've been doing so that you, when you get the survey, you can look at that. There's some projects that are underway that that we think you should know about. And the first project that we would like to talk to you about is the dog park that's been put together by the Green River High School's National Honor Society. And when I told them that I was going to talk about it tonight, they said, could we come? And I made the executive decision to allow them to talk about the dog park. So I'll yield to them if that's okay, Mr. Mayor.
You bet.
Hi, my name's Lucy Adams. I was the president of NHS this past year, and I was also a senior, just graduated last night. So I just wanted to give a brief overview of the dog park and everything that we've accomplished. So the past 4 years, National Honor Society has been in the works of building this dog park, and we first presented the idea to City Council. So these past 4 years have been fundraising and planning and meeting and anticipating, hoping that one day it would actually be built. This past school year was kind of the final steps for trying to get on the last step so we could build it. And the past 6 months, we've been trying to find a contractor to do the groundwork, but we were repeatedly told no by everyone that we asked. However, Serrell Brothers in Rock Springs, we asked them and they immediately said yes. And 2 weeks after they started doing the groundwork for that. Recently, we joined the Greenbelt Task Force because of the 501c3 and purchasing abilities that come with a nonprofit. Going directly through the school district would be a very lengthy process. So after we joined with them, we deposited the $38,000 that we fundraised for the dog park. NHS has met with Brad Rainey, Tom Wilson, John Freeman, and Mike Brown to discuss the budget. Brad Rainey with Parks and Rec, Mike Brown with Enberg Miller, John Freeman with the Greenbelt Task Force, and Victoria Hemphill with NHS has set a schedule and a timeline that we plan to follow. We just wanted to say thank you and that we're very thankful for the past 4 years that we've had the city's support for what we've been doing, and especially for Brad and Berg Miller and Mike Brown and the Greenbelt Task Force. So thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
The task force has been very late in participating in that. They reached out to us and we were more than willing to do that, but we're very happy to be part of this. And when Searle Brothers showed up on the site and was talking about what was going to happen and all that stuff, and the supervisor just kind of shook his head and said, "This is a $200,000 or $300,000 project," and the kids have been able to gather the donations and the in-kind services and all that other kind of stuff. So for a small amount of cash is going to deliver a wonderful park to the city.
And John, who's the other person with the National Honor Society here?
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is Victoria Hemphill. She's the advisor for the National Park Service and a very strong advocate for her students and for the project.
She's the advisor for the National Honor Society.
Right.
Okay.
So, Victoria, you want to say anything?
Hey, but we just want to say, since that is it, and I didn't know if there was any other presentations, so we really want to thank you for all your efforts, because it's been an amazing situation, and carrying it forth year after year after year, allowing that to happen, that's not something that happens all the time. So good for you guys. Make sure you give the kudos back to the whole gang when you get back.
To move on, the dog park's kind of a wonderful example of the public-private partnership. We're able to get out bids and to get contractors going much faster than what the city or the school district can. So once we got the ground level, it only took us less than a week to get somebody to put the fence up and those kind of things, and to go out for a bid for the supplies and stuff like that. So this is one of the reasons how we can speed up on these little projects that we do, and we're going forward with that. I told you that you're going to have homework pretty soon, and that's going to be over the master plan. The plan's been going on for about an hour a year. It seems like more than a year. But to kind of review the process real quick, is we had a survey in the middle of the summer when everybody was gone, and yet we had 6% of the city of Green River that responded to that, 760 people. Overwhelming support for the Greenbelt, overwhelming support to go forward with that. We took their ideas that we got from the survey and we put together a working group that was 40 plus people that donated time and effort to put something on the map. And then what happens is the city put together a National Park Service River Trails and Conservation Area grant. We did the same thing 30 years ago, and right now they're putting things together to where that you're going to see a rough draft pretty soon. The homework that I'm talking about is, what do you see as the priorities and where we should go forward first? And there'll be a map on there to where that we've kind of not limited it, but kind of condensed it down to where that you can see that, and we would like to see where you're at. Once you get done, we've already done the survey. We'll put together the final, it won't be final, but what we want to present to the public, get some reviews. And then we want the plan to be approved by both the city council and the task force. So that's kind of the timeline, what we're going to do. Hopefully it's going to be going along a lot quicker than it has been. You already know about what's happening at Riverside Park. In the near future, we're going to have that breach repair. We're going to have the replacement of the contract and lighting. We hope to add on to that to where that we can have an ADA access ramp from Hutton Heights Shopping Center down. We're working on that. We'll see if we can find some money to add on to that by next summer. Trout Unlimited has a bank stabilization project in Scotts Bottom. I think that they have raised close to $400,000 to put that in. When we did the master plan 30 years ago, we had lots of bank stabilization there, and we haven't worked on it for 30 years. And I've already talked to you about how the river has shifted to where it's taken the buffer out of the trails that we put in 30 years ago and took the trail out. So we've missed 25 feet of bank. What they're going to do is they're going to construct that to where that we can retain fish and improve fishing in that area, and we can put the trail back into that area. Mr. Rust and several other people, particularly TU, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Wyoming Game and Fish have been working diligently to where that we're trying to get to grants to do projects that we know that has to be done. I did this last night in Casper, so if I get the wrong figures, don't persecute me too badly. But we have a FEMA grant in for engineering for the remodel of the Kildare diversion structure. That's for $75,000. The Wyoming Wildlife Natural Resource Trust has awarded the task force $200,000 to do the construction on that dam. So once we have engineering to that, we can start on that project and go forward. Just got bumped on the nose. We put in a BLM engineering grant and the rebuilding of the wetlands itself. They gave us 3 days to put the 3 business days to put the whole grant together. And we got that done. And they said, we'll let you know right away. And we've been waiting for over 2 months to see if we've got it or it's been rejected. So cross your fingers that we would have. That would solve a lot of the problems. And just last Friday, TU, the Greenbelt Task Force and the city all kind of collaborated together and put together a CUPCA grant to the Central Utah Project area. And that's what's built a lot of the wetlands in the past, but that was for $300,000. We've worked really hard to find money to build our dreams. And some of the grants that are out there, the task force can't apply for. And some of the grants that are out there, the city can't apply for. So that's why it's so important to have this partnership that we have. The task force has grown a lot. We already have increased social media presence. We're on Twitter, whatever Mr. Musk is going to call it in the future. But we have a website that's about ready to go public. And we have our own domain. We've been sending out newsletters under one of our members' personal account, and some people don't think that that's official, so we're going to try to get all of that done. We had issues with legal services. We had an attorney in the past that would offer those services pro bono. He has since retired, but we found out last week that he can't give us legal advice, but he can review stuff for us. And we have another attorney that will give us a reduced rate. So when we do need an attorney, I think the technical term is we got our butt covered. And so we're really excited about that. Sage Hillstead said that. We have 5 new board members, which I think is very important. Bill Lewis has a passion for building trails and increasing volunteer efforts, and he's been working very hard for the last year to get those things done. We had a 9/11 community volunteer day last year, and a lot of stuff that was done during that time. Kathy Hemker has agreed to put together the Friends of the Greenbelt campaign. That's where we're trying to raise cash on a kind of a regular basis so that we have some working capital. Tom Wilson just joined us 2 months ago. He also has a passion for building trails and increased public awareness. And I got an email while I was in Casper that I have an appointment next week to talk to BLM to where we can start putting trails on their land that adjoins the city. So I'm very excited about that. Jason Grubb is our social media guy. He's got this stuff going to where that we can have a more public service. And then there's a guy named John Freeman who's been recycled back into the task force. And my wife goes, "I want you to be all mine. Why do you keep giving yourself away?" We're still looking for someone to be an event planner. So if you know someone who likes to plan events and overwork, please send them my way. But it's one thing that I talked about when they asked me to come back is this isn't an advisory board, this is an action board. We're going to do things. And in the last year and a half, we've done that. We're waiting for our friends at the Greenbelt to take off. We are grant rich and checkbook poor. So if you have any desire to be a friend of the Greenbelt, anything helps. If you're a member of a business or something like that that would be willing to do that, I can hand these things off. But let me give you a kind of an example of why it's important that we gain kind of a pot of money to where that we can work. In March and April, we were in a situation to where the city had $20,000, and our nonprofits and the city and we got together, came up with a plan. If we could come up with another $20,000, we would be able to get the engineering done for the diversion dam, and by doing that, and in March and April, we could have had the construction plans to where that we could have done it in the fall, since we're pretty sure it's going to be a dry year. We don't have that money, and that's why we're doing the Friends of the Greenbelt, and we could use that. How can the city fathers help the Greenbelt? I've talked to Mayor Rust, and I think I talked to Gary too. But it would be nice to have a pot of money in your budget if something comes up to where that we can provide 10% match, 20% match. That would be really good. If we have a project that will be construction ready, this would be a way to fund it. That would be very beneficial. You had $20,000 in this last budget. Frankly, I think that it could be higher, but you guys get to make your own budget, and I won't even give you a suggestion, but think about that. We put in for a $5,000 community service grant. I am pretty soon I'm going to put my name on a contract document where that we're going to rebuild that diversion dam. I asked my my personal insurance person, if I am covered under that, and he says no. And so I would like to cover the board, and particularly myself, to make sure that when we do this stuff that we're doing it in a way. And frankly, our friends of the Greenbelt cannot raise the cash to do that on a regular basis. So I would like you to consider that. The last thing that I would like to tell you is that in our survey, 80% of the people thought that the 6 cent option, if it is approved, that they would like to see a sliver of that money to go to enhancing the Greenbelt project. And I think that that's important. I in my wildest dreams, I thought maybe a 60-40, 50-50 or something like that. I never thought that 80% of the people would advocate to where that we would do that. I know that Casper, and I'm pretty sure that Cheyenne, that's where they build their pathway system is with a 6 penny. So that is just planting a seed in your mind to where that as you go forward, you can think of that. I am just so happy to be working with the city of Green River again. And I am so happy that I don't have to look at budgets anymore. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Councilman Kilpack.
I just have one comment, John, and that is thank you for all the work that you and your committee's been doing over the last 2 or 3 years to bring all this together. And me, for one council member, I'm totally supportive of what you're doing. And I think it's a real great asset to the community. So good work.
Thank you. I'm working with some wonderful people.
Anyone else, Council? Go ahead, Councilwoman.
No, I just want to thank you, John and Victoria, and your students, just seeing that come to the forefront and making this happen. So I'm trying to send volunteers your way when I hear it. So I'm trying to help in that manner. So, but thank you so much for everything you guys are doing.
Good people. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Okay, next up on the agenda, item 7 is citizen requests and other communications. If there are any citizens in the audience that are not on the agenda that would like to address the council, just step up to the mic and introduce yourself.
Your Honor and City Councilman, I'm Dwayne Pacheco. I am recently retired as of last Thursday from the Rock Springs Police Department. 31 years, last date as police chief. And also am a retired Air Force Reserve veteran of 20 years. And being retired, I decided that I'm going to partake in my new endeavor, which is to serve as your next sheriff. And I signed up for that last Thursday. And so I figured I would come here just to introduce myself. Very briefly, I know that these meetings can get long and I've sat through a lot of them. So, but briefly, I just want to let you know what some of my issues are and how I feel that we can improve Sweetwater County and the Sheriff's Office. So right off the bat, I'd like to talk about shared values and a Second Amendment. And I'm a strong advocate and supporter of our Second Amendment rights. And as a president of Wyoming Association of Sheriffs and Chiefs of Police, I testified on our recent Senate File 102, which was the Second Amendment Protection Act. If you're not familiar with it, I would encourage you to take a look at it. I spoke on both the Senate and the House Judiciary side to advocate for that passage of that bill, and the governor did sign it. I'm also an advocate of our community events, helping our Special Olympians and just those different types of events that we do. Our 5K, 10K run with the badges. We started that in the Rock Springs to help Center for Families and Children through the YWCA. And we see that as a huge benefit, both to the community and the county, because those helping those people navigate through our justice system. Community, also on our community collaboration, school safety, a big issue nationally, big issue regionally and locally. And, I have a proven record of working with School District 1. I'm looking to, partner with School District 2 and the outlying areas and ensure that our kids are safe when they're away from mom and dad. Fiscal responsibility, extremely important, especially with jail costs. We're the biggest end user of those jail facilities. Your police department is as well. And I know that it's a heavy lift, $130, $150 a day to house a prisoner. There are programs out there to keep nonviolent prisoners out of jail, 24/7 program, statutorily. is out there. We've not used it, but I know 2 counties that used it all the way through COVID, Campbell County as well as Teton County. Campbell County Sheriff shared with us a story where they saved $30,000 keeping one prisoner out of jail while he went through the justice system. And interesting enough, he actually had to serve time, but he was able to stay out of jail, keep his job, keep his marriage, those types of things in that pretrial timeframe. So if we can, and I've spoken to the local judges and they all agree that 24/7 is a program that they would absolutely support. So when we do that, it's just, it saves beds for those violent criminals that need the housing. Those are the people that need to be in jail. And those are the people that I believe we need to free up those spaces for. And I believe that I'm the person to do that. Being a strong supporter of prevention, Councillor Jost and I have seen YWCA, United Way Board of Directors, Executive Board as president. Interesting enough on that, we had a $2 million goal at that time. That wasn't too long ago, and I think they're under 500,000 now. So times do change. Mayor Rust and I served on the Prevention Advisory Council, which is prevention monies that come through for different types of prevention efforts on a county level through Southwest Counseling right now. And as circular as things go, they took that money away. It went to Johnson County, and recently it came back to Sweetwater County. And I was asked by now Senator Kolb, then Commissioner Kolb, what do we do with this prevention money? He was told by the state to talk to me because they had recognized the years of efforts on the prevention side. And I explained to Commissioner Kolb at the time that we needed to partner with local law enforcement. That's where boots on the ground are with prevention, and that's how we're going to make a difference. So I will continue to do that. It's very important to me. And lastly, fiscal responsibility. I sit on 2 commissions, governor-appointed commissions right now. One is the Gaming Commission. You've seen historic horse racing, casinos that are going up, and horse palaces and those types of things. We're the regulatory commission for gaming in the state, skill games, historic horse racing, and now online sports betting. So we spend a lot of time on that, and we're working to ensure that our members that we stay above board on the regulatory side. It's a very heavy lift. I'll look at the numbers on the state website. I would encourage you to do that. There is a lot of money involved in gaming. That's leaving our community. You're getting 1/2 of 1%. And the county gets another 1/2 of 1%. So not a very good return, but they seem to think it's okay. And then the second commission that I serve on is Public Safety Communication Commission, which is WildLink. And you've heard of WildLink, and I'm sure the chief has explained to you what that is. And it's interoperable communications that it's a mandate from the feds after 9/11, because what we recognized during the towers, we couldn't communicate, and now we can. And we kind of a segue to our tourism and Kilpecker Sand Dunes and Farson. We have a low-level site that will go live. I was assured in my meeting last Wednesday, my last day of work in Cheyenne, that site should go up in June, will be lit up. So that tower, WildLink Tower, will light up Farson and all the Kilpecker Sand Dunes for interoperable communications. And then we also have another tower on the South Belt Loop in Rock Springs. It's an 800 megahertz tower, which is part of a 16 tower build out, about $3.4 million total. And I feel that a seat at the table on the state level brought that those resources to our local level. So and those are the efforts that I've spearheaded, amongst a bunch of others. But I have this, you can read about it on my website, and I do have a handout for you, and I appreciate your time, and I'll entertain any questions if you should have any.
Anybody have any questions for Dwayne? Thanks, Dwayne. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. One other thing I just want to say to my brothers in blue, brown, and green that have happy Law Enforcement Week. And we know it's a somber week, actually, recognizing those that have made the ultimate sacrifice for protecting our citizens and our communities. So I kind of missed that already. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other citizens in the audience that want to address the council? Okay. Moving on, resolutions. Item A, consideration of a resolution approving an increase in the wastewater fund.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight before you is a resolution to do two things for us. Mark's going to give you a little better update than I can give you on it. I just write the checks. The resolution before you is to do a couple things. One is to establish a budget authority for us to spend some money on a project. And the second one is to enact and utilize the emergency funds, emergency use doctrines in the statute says we don't really have time to sit and bid some of this project out to ensure the safety of the river and the citizens. So that resolution will do those two things for you. We're hoping that's enough, but we'll come back to you as we have a better detail, and I'll let Mark give you a better update.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Mark Westensco, Public Works Director. A couple of weeks ago during some cleaning on aspects of our sewer line, we noticed something curious. Upon investigation, we determined that there was in fact a leak in our north side forest main that runs under the river. We began an investigation to determine the extent and the location. You will see a cofferdam built over that location at this time. We were able to expose that. We were able to identify two locations where we had a leak and were able to apply repair bans, and that line is now back in service. We've left the cofferdam in place in case we need to get into it again. Repair bans in this particular circumstance are not an ideal circumstance. The line was originally installed in 1962, and we've done periodic investigations on it in the past. And at this point, we our confidence in the long-term viability of that line without a thorough inspection is limited. We are pursuing a course that will allow us to put in a parallel line, directional drilling, that will put in a line that will allow us to move the flow over to the new line, allow us to inspect and have that redundancy for the future. So that's kind of what's going on out there now. We felt it was necessary to move on that immediately. And that's why we're here with the emergency authorization tonight.
Okay. Personally, I think it's pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions for staff? Okay, if not, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
I move to approve the resolution increasing the water fund budget in the amount of $500,000 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack, seconded by Councilman Shuttron. Is there any further discussion?
I just had a quick
Go ahead,
question.
George.
I talked to Reed this morning about this, but just how much of the 500,000 are you going to actually use? You need all of it, or just be enough to get by? Or
Our initial off the cuff was 300,000. So we're going 5 to make sure that we're getting all the ancillary things around that. And then as we get more detailed, well, that was just for the boring. So we're feeling like it's going to be pretty close to that 5.
oh, that will include the boring?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Go back. Mark. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mayor. Just easy question. I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear it. What was the lifespan after the repair? So it's gonna be in place for next 30 years.
Oh, so the new line?
Yeah.
The new line will be, it's a high density polyethylene line. It's about 1 inch thick. It will have a life of decades. I mean, I will not see that line replaced. No,
Okay.
just like the last one has had a life of 60 years, I would expect the new line to have that kind of life. We will be looking to put the old line back into service after it's fully inspected and rehabilitated. But the scope of that service will be defined by the investigation and the rehabilitation processes available to us.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. I apologize for the phone, but I kind of have a family emergency medical situation that I'm dealing with. So council action items. Item A, consideration to award the 2022 Cape Seal project. And speak up a little bit if you could, Mark. Kind of my older.
Sure, no problem. So we recently put out to bid a project for the pavement preservation rehabilitation, a Cape Seal project. This is similar to the process that we did last year where we got about 6 miles in. This year, the bids were up a little bit and we won't get quite as much done. But we did package it up knowing, given the uncertainty in the markets, we packaged it up a little bit to have multiple schedules that we could award packages of streets. And of the 5 potential packages, we're recommending award of 3 as that fits our budget.
Okay. Any questions for Mark on this? George, do I see you? Okay, go ahead and make the motion, George.
I move that we award the 2022 Cape Seal project to Asphalt Preservation for $577,629.45 for schedules base A, B, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Joe, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any further discussion? Go ahead, Councilman Kilpack.
Are any of these streets that are going to be paved with this preservation asphalt, is it going to be any of the streets that if we get the 6 penny, that will be streets that will be fixed by the 6 penny?
This year, we have selected streets that are not on the list for 6 penny. Typically, the streets that get to the level where we want to talk about 6 penny are so far that this preservation technique is for streets that are better than that, to keep them better than that. Now, we've been talking internally about the scope of the 6 penny and what may be available to us. There are some streets on our 6 penny list that if we don't get that, we may have to do something like this and see if we can limp along a little bit longer. But so we're constantly looking at those things. But in this particular package are streets that some folks might think they need to be rebuilt. But given the existing 6 penny list, it's going to be 10 years before we get to them. So we're going to do this treatment and see if we can get through that 10 years.
And so that list that you have given us of the streets that may be fixed by 6 penny, depending on how it ends up. If a citizen asks me, I can say, no, this street is not part of this, but if 6 penny doesn't work, it could be part of it.
That would be for next year's project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had that question.
Yeah.
But I don't know the answer.
We'll make that call after all that 6 penny stuff figures itself out.
Okay, any other questions for Mark? Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, council, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consideration of a consulting agreement with Daigle Law Firm Group LLC.
Mayor, Council, Tom Driver, Green River Police Department. The agreement we have before you is a consultation agreement for rewriting our department policy. It's something we've been trying to work on over time. I've written quite a few policies in the past few years to try to limp us along. But the problem we have is that the older policies are not even in a format that is generally accepted practice anymore. They were written way back before I started the department. And trying to get the bandwidth to totally rewrite them on our own, considering all the research you have to do, and then relying on me to be the legal expert in doing that is probably not the best practice. So there's two organizations in the country that focus on this as a service, where they come in and help you rewrite your policies, make sure they're constitutional, make sure that they're going to protect the city and the department from any litigation. One of those does not work in the state of Wyoming. So that leaves us with Daigle and Associates, and they're well known. He's trained at the Wyoming Sheriffs and Chiefs Conference before. I've talked to him. I've looked at a lot of the stuff he puts out about Supreme Court decisions. He seems to be able to predict them a whole lot better than the media does, which isn't necessarily always surprising, but he definitely seems to really understand constitutional law, and I think he's going to be a great person to do it. He does contract on a per hour basis. 2 meetings ago, I asked for, as part of the mid-year resolution, we asked for $20,000 to be moved from the drug seizure fund to the general operating budget for the police department. That would be to cover the cost of this consultation. So that's where we at. We just need to get it rolling. We need your approval to enter into that agreement.
Thanks, Chief. Does anybody have any questions for Tom? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttrin.
I move to approve the agreement to provide services with Daigle Law Group LLC and authorize the Mayor Russ to sign the agreement upon legal approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttrin, seconded by Councilman Berg, who was a little quicker than Councilwoman Bushman. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item C, consideration to award the bid for the Recreation Center partial re-roof project.
Mayor and Council, Brad Rainey, Parks and Recreation Director. The rec center is getting old and has some issues. The roof over the pool needs to be addressed. It's the subroof, just from moisture, and it's just a difficult environment in a pool. I can talk more technical if you want to ask those questions, but I'll try to keep it short for now. But we put it out to bid. First time we put it out to bid, we didn't get any bids. We put it out again. We did get 2 bids. They're both really close. This bid represents the low bid here, and both bidders met the qualifications, but this is the lower one. So we need your approval to award the bid and have the mayor sign the agreement so we can move forward with the project before the roof blows away.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Does anybody have any questions of Brad? Councilman Jost?
I just had a quick one. Where are these guys from?
Both bidders were out of Utah, companies out of Utah.
Okay, thanks.
Councilman Berg?
I was just going to ask you, you don't want an outdoor pool, huh?
For like 1 month of the year, that might work well, but.
Yeah. Councilwoman Bushman, would you like to make a motion?
I would be happy to. I move to award the Recreational Center partial re-roof project to Wood Integrated Solutions LLC in the amount of $286,687 and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman Bushman, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor,
Councilman Berg.
I'm going to be abstaining from voting on the consent agenda.
Okay,
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Bushman. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We have no discussion on the consent agenda. If anybody's wondering why I didn't ask for discussion. Mr. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Council. I just wanted to reiterate with Mr. Freeman there regarding the Greenbelt Task Force and working with the National Honor Society. You look at how we work with the Rec Mill, the Greenbelt Task Force, Trout Unlimited. It's those types of partnerships that are able to do some of these projects that we probably would never be able to do, or even have the bandwidth to be able to do, but they're very needed. So we just appreciate that. I think, you know, we've done a really good job being able, you know, with the department heads and with Ryan and the grants inside that, to be able to find and utilize dollars that get a lot more stuff done that are just in the budgets. And I just wanted to acknowledge that and appreciate that.
Thank you, Reed. Mr. City Attorney.
I have no report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Galen. Councilman Berg.
Along with the city cleanup day for this Saturday, I also seen something on Wyoming Waste website that stated that Saturday they will be accepting normal household waste free of charge and not counting it toward your 1,800 pounds on Saturday. So get your yards cleaned up.
Up at the
Landfill, the transfer station.
Good information, Councilman. Thank you. Councilman Shuttron.
Just wanted to share a big thanks to Reed and everybody who was involved with the budget this year for keeping us on track fiscally. So thanks for everything you guys do. That's all I have.
Thanks, Councilman. Councilwoman Bushman.
I just want to echo what Micah just said about the department heads. I know that's very challenging to do budgets, but we really do appreciate it. Seriously. I also want to just mention that I attended at the island, the McKinsey home at Washington Square. I don't know if anyone has heard of that. There is a couple that is very passionate to bring life back into the Washington School. And she's been in talks with Constellium that it's going to be half a home for for moms, single parents that are needing housing on a temporary basis and can put them back into society. And but the other part of the building will be rebuilt to have office space. So I actually reached out to Wyoming Business Council, our Southwest person, to actually see if they can have some conversations. Maybe they can get a BRC loan or a historic preservation loan from Wyoming Business Council, but hopefully maybe in the future. But she sees this in fruition in 3 years. So, but she definitely wants community involvement, community, create jobs for the community as well to be part of this home. So I'm excited to see that come through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bushman. Councilman Jost.
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you, George. Councilman Kilpack.
I have one thing that's kind of a legal question. And since we're going into the campaign year, and I'm asking Galen, and the mayor can speak to this too if he would like to. Is it okay and legal to use the mic under citizens' concerns to campaign?
It isn't for you.
But anyone else can?
Yeah, no, the public can come up and address the council. That, you know, it's citizens' concerns.
Is a campaign citizens' concerns?
Should be.
Well.
Okay.
You know,
I've been trying for 10 years to catch you and I can't do it. So, okay,
well,
that's just my question.
Okay, and I'm aware of the McKinsey home. I just want to say, you know, everything I know about it, I definitely support it. So I think it's a good thing. Aside from the fact that we also get a burned down building fixed up, which is a kind of a classical building, but that's not the reason why. It's a very worthwhile effort, it sounds to me. And so that's a good thing. And I will entertain them. Are we going to?
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn to an executive session for personnel and contracts, and there will be no decisions made.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn to executive session for the stated purpose. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned. We will be back. Thank you, everybody.
think Chris needs to be in it necessarily. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I make motion that we resume regular session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we now adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.